Hello, friends, and welcome to Much Review About Nothing. A new Tom and Jerry movie. If I wanted to see this much animal abuse, I'd just watch Milo and Otis. On this podcast, we review a movie we haven't seen through cultural osmosis and what we can find on the internet. I'm your host, Billy Greer.
And we're your co-hosts, Jake Greer and
Luke Greer.
And we actually have a special guest this time. It's our good friend and fan, John.
Hey guys, happy to be here. Favorite podcast. Joe Rogan has nothing on you guys.
Thank you, John. You're too kind. Now here's your money.
Yeah. So yeah, this is a very auspicious occasion. Never had a guest before in our entire career so far.
Right, and we decided to do the brilliant move of somebody who's not famous.
Yeah.
So no clout at all.
We're not famous, so it only makes sense that our guests aren't either. But should we get into what we call introspection inspection, where we talk about recent events or something we want to bring up?
Well, the main thing this time is basically reconfirming that we are part of Corden's Wardens. We're a part of that fan club. We're kind of anti-fans, but John, how long have you been a fan of James Corden, or an anti-fan, either one?
James Corden? I love James Corden.
How dare you? How dare you?
How dare you?
Okay, he's off the podcast now.
Get out of here. Take your coat.
Well, he's in the other sect of the Corden's Wardens, too. There's those who love and protect him and praise him. There's the us who, are a vanguard against James Corden and his kind. Yeah.
So I guess we were going to look into what he's up to.
Right. We have a special segment now inside of Introspection Inspection because it's usually empty. We are going to hunt down James Corden's whereabouts and what he's been doing recently.
Right.
And we're going to be using the Plototron because who best to keep an eye on James Corden other than his mortal enemy.
Another AI.
I mean, he is connected to the internet, so he would always be aware of James Corden's movements.
Yes, it makes sense.
Remember, James Corden is also connected to the internet, and they battled it out over
Absolutely.
again.
Yeah.
And James Corden is always watching too. So just remember, you guys.
Yeah. Before I do that, I guess we should maybe talk about recent events, why uploads have been a little scarce. I've been sick recently, but I'm on the road to recovery. I'm doing much better, and that's why we haven't uploaded very much. So hopefully we're going to be amending that very soon.
I'm really disappointed because after I laced your cough drops, I figured it off you, but it just didn't work out.
How very French of you.
Podcast is worse than Game of Thrones. But yeah, that's recent events. Don't want to get bogged down with that. So
we're not doing Billy's news.
No. Let's go ahead, and I'm going to ask the Plototron, what has James Corden been up to recently?
Question mark.
Yeah.
Exclamation point.
Semicolon.
Good idea. Okay. What has James Corden been up to recently? When Corden took the reins from Michael Bublé back in 2015, he and his wife, Julia Carey, embarked on an incredibly successful 5-year run on The Late Late Show. Now that the show is coming to an end, he's putting his feet up and enjoying the holidays in Los Angeles. How was The Late Late Show really different than his past hosting gigs? Speaking with reporters on Monday, Corden said he enjoyed the experience of working with the people at CBS and the network's existing staff. My first, and it cuts off. So,
The Late Late Show?
yeah, it's a real show. So kind of just, I think it literally just pulled an article.
I think it did.
It really embellished too much there. Okay, well
He's part of the Late Late Show.
yeah, he's coming off his run on the Late Late Show.
Back in 2015,
Which I feel like the whole.
Oh, that is his show.
I know
Yeah,
it is.
I know, yeah.
It's literally just an article.
Yeah.
Okay.
But did Michael Bublé have the?
I don't think.
That doesn't make sense because he's a singer.
Yeah.
So why would he be running be the host of the Late Late Show?
Wait, did we find out James Corden offed Michael Bublé to get the Late Late Show?
or there was they tried him out as the host and it didn't work out, so they never released his episodes. I don't know, but not nearly as hilarious as I was hoping, but at least James Corden isn't up to anything particularly bad.
Like a 6-year-old article.
I know.
Planetron failed.
So this has been some irrelevant news about James Corden. I hope you enjoy.
So all of James Corden news.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't go that far, but
Not anymore. Not
Try to
anymore.
look up the previous host. There was none.
Oh, okay.
Scrub the internet of the previous
He
host.
got rid of them.
He erased them.
I really didn't want people to know that Michael Bublé was the original, which I don't know what that's about. But okay.
I feel like we discovered some lost knowledge that we weren't meant to find.
No apocryphal pop culture information. But okay, so today we're taking a look at Tom and Jerry 2021.
Right.
And
Now, I figured before we get into the trailer, how do we feel about Tom and Jerry, the cartoon?
I love Tom and Jerry. It's a classic.
Tom and Jerry's the best. Grew up on it.
Yeah.
I think it caused children to become super violent. Should be removed from the airwaves.
Because, well, it's okay. It's really not my favorite.
Oh, it's not?
No, like compared to something like Looney Tunes, I feel like it's lacking. I mean, yes, it's slapstick. But
Well,
that's
yeah,
about
it's
all
just
it
pure
is.
condensed slapstick.
I prefer something with more comedy to it.
I think the reason that I kind of share Jake's feelings about Tom and Jerry is that it was like the only thing they would play on Boomerang.
Well, that was the other thing.
over and
So
over again.
watching TV younger, there would be these massive periods where nothing was on, but there'd just be Tom and Jerry, and that was the only option. So when you're watching back-to-back Tom and Jerry, you know, you get burned out really, really quickly, I feel.
Yeah, I mean,
so
that's
it
true with
never
anything.
became my favorite.
It's also so elegant. No talking, nothing.
Yeah, that's
just
it's like a
straight-
silent film.
Yeah.
It's beauty in its simplicity. So
Yeah.
I guess we're having a Tom and Jerry civil war in the podcast. On the
Well, I mean,
onset,
my
but-
problem isn't with Tom and Jerry itself. It's just that we became a little bit burnt out because it
see,
was just
yeah.
constant. It's like I hit the TV guide and just be like, oh my goodness, this is
5-hour
nothing but
block of
Tom and Jerry.
But
Yeah, I just feel like there's better shows, you know.
I guess, but for what it is, to me, it's like the Three Stooges. It's clever.
Yeah.
Like I said, it's beautiful in its simplicity and its minimalism, and they get a lot out of slapstick. They take it into weird directions, like Tom getting smashed and he turns into an accordion, or he goes down the stairs like a slinky or whatever. Just stuff like that. It's, you know.
Right, Tom getting smashed.
I'm personally a big
and
fan.
Tom getting smashed.
Yeah.
And Tom getting smashed.
Not just
Yeah.
that. There's other stuff.
Because you can have the little guy getting smashed.
Yeah.
He does get smashed sometimes.
Yeah. Sometimes he does, I guess you're right.
Yeah. And then you throw in the dog into the mix, and then you'll have like a
The dog will smash Tom.
Yeah.
And-
Man, I didn't realize it gets so much blowback on Tom and Jerry being a
I
good
don't.
show.
I don't hate Tom and Jerry. It's just
Grief,
not
wow.
my favorite.
It's just contentious all of a sudden.
I know.
Fine. That's my opinion.
And I'll get more into it later, but I feel like that's the issue with expanding Tom and Jerry into a full-length movie.
Right.
It works best in small little snippets,
Right.
segments.
Well, the first thing you got to do is make them talk. No,
I want to talk about that
They
too.
did that.
I want to talk about that too.
Let's get into the trailer now.
Okay,
though.
yeah, let's watch the trailer for Tom and Jerry. It's feeding time.
It's feeding time.
it's feeding time.
I guess it's feeding time.
Yeah. That's what we say when we watch the trailer. All right.
What kind of scream was that? If you're gonna do it, you gotta scream
Where's
big.
Tom's like Stuka pilot scream?
Yeah.
Con, we didn't get the scream.
Con,
At least in the trailer.
No iconic Tom scream.
Well, that was. I couldn't help but notice.
Yeah. What the heck? I noticed that.
Couldn't help but notice as we were watching the trailer, it was silent as a tomb.
And-
Amongst all four of us, we just passively watching.
Future editor, plug in the Tom and Jerry scream, the Tom scream sound effects. so
Okay,
that are
that's me. You don't have to. I will. I'll do it.
Yeah,
like
future
this-
editor,
You're
whoever you are.
going to try to act like this is a big
Professional,
operation.
right,
yeah,
Okay, I'm
yeah,
sorry,
you totally
I'm-
took the wind
my
out of my
bad.
sails.
My bad.
That's part of the jokes where you go, editor, put that in. Even
I just
though
feel like
you're the editor.
I brought it up that I'm the editor many times, but okay, fair enough.
Is that why
Walk it back, let's do it again.
Is that why we only hear you on the podcast? Everyone else has got that.
Man, I was hoping you guys wouldn't catch on. Shoot.
Well, no, what he does is that he redubs all of our lines, so it's just Billy.
That's why it takes so long for episodes to come out.
I was like, I walk by your room and I hear like you trying to sound like me, repeating my lines. Like, what are you doing in there?
So I think you brought up a great con that it's just a graveyard for comedians.
Yeah, and for poor Chloe Grace Moretz, the main female protagonist, she had a very promising career at first. Like, she was Hit Girl. She was in all these big movies. She was in the Carrie remake, which I guess not necessarily a really big movie, but it's Stephen King.
Huge.
So yeah. And I don't know. It's just sad seeing her in this like kind of thankless. I'm working against two CGI animated animals kind of role.
I can't even see normally.
Yeah, but at least she's getting paid. But yeah, I feel like this movie. Of course, we haven't seen it. The premise of the podcast, but
Thank you, Billy.
yeah.
In case you forgot.
Yeah. It's going to be just one of those classic, like the animated creature. They're having to share screen time with the human characters, so neither really get.
They're basically just like an accessory.
Yeah.
Because, I think we talked about it before that I don't think I like mixed real life animation.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of an example.
Space Jam is the only example. It's the only acceptable answer to that.
Yeah.
How about
I can't even remember how
Who
good
Killed
the movie
Roger
actually
Rabbit?
is.
Who killed Roger Rabbit?
Okay,
That one's
yeah,
good.
but that's like in that's a whole different league.
Well, at least that has a meta reason for it. But
Yeah,
this,
but it is also a really good movie. But yeah.
yeah, but this,
Yeah, there's also like animated other animals in it apparently, like the
Yeah.
elephants and.
right? I get that, but why
At least
isn't
it's
all of
consistent
this?
where they're all animated. There's not like there's like a real life dog chasing Tom. At least.
Oh, that would be brutal. Yeah.
that'd be weird.
It's not like Garfield, where Garfield animated with
Oh yeah, Odie is a real dog. So
yeah.
I give him props for that. But yeah, all I can think of is like the Smurfs and the Chipmunks and just kind of those low tier kids movies, and that's all I can think about when I see this.
But like, make it all animated and get the humans in on the slapstick, like the real extreme slapstick.
Yeah.
I'd like to really see a person get crushed and flattened. They can have those jokes.
But the problem is they have made a ton of animated Tom and Jerry movies.
Or you know what is even better? Is just
Movies?
do it.
Yeah, they're straight to video.
Yeah, they're
but-
straight to video.
'cause they'll do like Tom and Jerry meet Willy Wonka, but these have the same problem where it's like you're watching Willy Wonka, but Tom and Jerry are screwing around in the background.
Right.
It's just they're always just like stapled in,
Yeah, like
which is like why are you making a Tom and Jerry movie if they're just like accessories and not even the main characters?
Right.
But they can't really be main characters because they're a mouse and a cat that want to murder each other.
I
And
kinda
that's the
They don't
extent of-
talk or anything.
Yeah.
I don't remember how good it was, but like I think it was the Mr. Bean goes abroad or whatever, or
Yeah,
travels,
yeah, no.
something like that. They're kind of like a force of nature.
Yeah.
And so you could focus on these main characters, and in the background, the happenings or the things that like.
They do affect the world around.
Right,
I can see
and that would be more interesting because
Yeah.
Mr. Bean is a force of nature.
Yeah.
And two, I think that Jake has the right idea of going fully animated, but in the reverse, make it super realistic. We'll get Tom looking at one of the cats people along with Jerry, and the violence will be really realistic too.
But they're in an animated world,
Lot
see
of
that's
blood,
where the
right.
difference
Blood.
is.
Yeah.
And all the
Broken
humans are
bones,
animated.
It'll make everyone uncomfortable just sitting
So
there.
I do think we have to put the con that it's not all animated. I think we can kind of throw them.
You're gonna just do real life animation hybrid.
Yeah, we can give them a teeny tiny pro for the fact that they did at least make all the animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
And-
real animals pro.
Yeah.
At least in the eternal
As
lore
far-
is consistent.
As far as we know, at least.
Yeah.
It could ruin that.
But we didn't see it in the trailer at the very least.
So it didn't exist.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's the thing. I guess this is a relatively cheap movie, but I'm divided on the animation because on one hand, I like how they tried to make it look like it's been 2D animated,
Yeah.
but it also looks extremely cheap, and it looks like an early video game, like something from the. I guess it's not quite as bad as PS2, but something like an old cell shaded game. It doesn't look quite right. It doesn't
Right.
really gel with the surroundings. But then again, I always feel bad when I beat up on a kids movie because they clearly didn't put that much thought into it. It's just like stimulation for a young child, and I get that, but still.
Right, but even something for kids, as we talked about, can be.
I mean, we
quality.
always bring up this point, but still, I just don't want it to seem like I'm just punching down.
We
at
have to
something
cover our bases every time.
because it does feel like punching down sometimes.
But Billy, all we can do is punch down. Think about how great we are.
Hey, you stupid kids,
There's no
don't
one to
want to
punch
like
up
Shakespeare.
to.
Yeah.
That's true. I guess it's more like punching horizontally because we're down on
We
the
have about the same
rung,
quality.
Yeah, everything else.
So we feel much better now. Thank you, John.
Yes. So I guess we can talk about the plot.
Yeah, let's talk
or
about
lack
the plot.
thereof. So
There's a plot.
it seems like Chloe Grace Moretz gets
Mousetrap. Or
Yeah, but you're
Yeah.
right. Mouse Hunt.
Mouse Hunt.
That's it.
That's
yeah.
what it was.
She gets hired onto a hotel, and I guess to impress her boss, she says she's going to take care of the mouse problem. She hires Tom, and like we were saying, he clearly faked his resume because he's the worst person to get if you want to catch a mouse.
Lying in the interview, everything else.
And so then I'm assuming I have watched some reviews of it, but I'm assuming they just cause trouble, and I think they eventually disrupt this big wedding that's taking place. And there's a subplot there, but
Definitely.
yeah.
I really hope they had the interview process in the movie.
The interview process?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How they're deciding to hire Tom.
For Tom.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's
you
a
wanna see,
long
like
process.
A full scene of him
Yeah.
just sitting there.
Yeah, he
asking
submits-
questions and he can't respond because he's a cat.
They brought him in for like 3 interviews.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, it's like this extensive scene.
So
You have
I
all the
think
other cats
Pro.
lined up.
Yeah. Pro, the interview
Yeah,
scene.
the interview scene
It's our
is
favorite
pretty funny.
scene.
Yeah, I would love the interview scene.
Yeah. Tom's waiting for weeks. You know, he's by the phone.
I
He's hoping he'll.
hear that there's a cut of this film that contains a much longer interview scene.
The Tom interview cut.
Yeah.
Hashtag
Release the Tom interview cut, where just an extra hour length of Tom. He wakes up. He's like working on his resume. He's trying to find all his contacts. You know? He's having to put it in. He's having to call them, and they do like a Zoom interview, and then he's arrived. It's just amazing. I wish they release it.
Yeah, and like they have him. He's calling like people used to work for, like that Mammy character whose face you never see.
Oh, yeah.
The heavyset black woman. He's calling her, and he's like meow meow. But yeah, hopefully they'll release that cut.
Well, I want the cut where like Jerry is talking with Tom's mom, and when Tom's mom walks off, her eyes light up. I want that.
She
I
turned
want
into
that.
March Your Man at her.
Yeah.
No, that would honestly be if they had any self-awareness, it'd be a hilarious scene where like Tom finally pins Jerry, and then Jerry says Martha, and that's what gets him to release him.
Oh my goodness.
So yeah, now I'm realizing I don't have too much to say about this, honestly.
Especially not the.
Wait, was that all the plot?
That's the extent of the plot. It's just they try to kill each other while Chloe Grace Moretz tries to fit in at the hotel and deal with. I guess Michael Pena is kind of an antagonistic character.
Which I think is going to be the highlight of this movie.
Pena?
Just Pena.
Yeah, he's always pretty fun. He's definitely one of the highlights of like Ant-Man.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I don't know. I just hope it's not one of these movies where like nobody can really like break the surface and shine. But like it's sad seeing Kim Ji-young like after Community and Hangover, and he's hilarious. It's just sad to see him, beating a cake to death with a bat, trying to kill Jerry.
It's the classic chef scene where the chef is mad at the creature for ruining their cooking.
Yeah,
and
it is
they themselves
classic.
run up and ruin the cooking. It's such a
Hoisted by
classic
their own
scene.
petard.
It's
Little
so
Mermaid.
funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I listen, guys. Even though Tom and Jerry is over 60 years old, you don't have to use jokes that are also 60 years old.
Look, it's classic. It's like the
I think
Greek.
you do have
we
a
think-
joke that
yeah.
is
Well, the chef gets angry that he destroys his own creation more than
Is that a pro? I think we can put that.
Well, it's
60-year-old jokes.
Yeah.
60-year-old jokes. Pro.
Well, to be fair, if it's that old, it's about time we dig it back up and reuse it.
Yeah.
It's like a fine wine. It's aged.
Because that TikTok joke was terrible.
Yeah, go ahead. TikTok, he said.
Yeah.
Like he didn't.
If it
Didn't
goes
know what
on,
it was.
Like he's not that old. He's
Yeah.
what, in his like late 30s? He
Something
would know
like that.
what he's
like-
not like a baby boomer or something.
This is like anime rules. Oh, you're 30 years old. You're an old person. Ew.
60-year-old jokes in the prose.
yes, and
But as I was saying, it's like it's also
really a pro god.
like has a classical like literary connection. It's like an examination of like the Greek idea of hubris, a man who becomes his own worst enemy through pride. So I can see the value there.
Well, you convinced me.
Yeah.
Is that an Aesop fable? The chef who beat
Yeah,
For sure.
beat steak to death.
I want the illustration for
favorite
that.
one, yeah.
I've read all the Aesop fables. I don't think I read that one.
Yeah, it's a classic.
It's a classic.
It's a great
It's
one.
ancient. In fact, it's not 60 years old. It's ancient.
Yeah.
It's like the oldest joke, which is just a fart joke. I think we brought it up before.
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. So
Freaking Sumerians.
I don't think Tom and Jerry doesn't really work in this kind of context. I do appreciate they're gone all out with the slapstick. I don't know how like creative it is. It just seems like they're just wailing on each
Pretty
other.
basic stuff,
yeah.
Fingers getting slammed.
Yeah.
Electrocutions.
Yeah.
I don't. I'm,
Classic
cutting of the wire.
running into the coyote running into the wall.
Oh yeah, because he moved his hole.
Crumpling.
Yeah.
Of course, they cut out a lot of the good ones, like the exploding cigars and getting shot. You can't really show
Yeah. No
those
guns.
anymore.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that this was clever. She freaked out when he moved the hole.
Yeah.
Now
well,
that is an interesting take. If you took that to the extreme, where like the people just start going crazy because these cartoon antics,
they're like
happen.
warping reality.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I didn't think of that.
They're
but-
like demons from another dimension.
So wait, is like are Tom and Jerry like elder gods now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
for
they're
sure.
they're from a different dimension. They can move through our dimension. They're like 4D creatures or 5D, and they can manipulate things at will.
They live in a
60.
non-Euclidean.
60, I don't know.
They live in a non-Euclidean dimension.
Yeah.
Where she's probably looking at Tom and Jerry's mousetrap, but she can't tell if it's horizontal or vertical,
Right.
and staring at it causes her to slowly lose her mind.
But yeah, there is.
Nice little Stephen King horror film there.
Yeah, yeah.
Actually, that's Lovecraft.
well, I mean,
it's-
Stephen King probably cribbed a lot from Lovecraft.
Everyone did.
Everyone does. Yeah. What do I?
Jinx!
Yeah.
You're now cursed, Luke.
But yeah, there is something there where if they had done more, if there was, I wonder if like more self-awareness, if like the human characters,
That's why Space Jam is so good.
because Michael Jordan's like,
Yeah, they go into the
Yeah.
Looney Tune
Yeah.
world.
yeah, yeah,
Michael
And
Jordan
whatchamacallit,
stretches his
too.
arm.
Yeah.
Bill
Remember
Murray,
that?
And he's able to break the dimensions.
yeah. Them seeing just like the horrific damage these animals are doing to each other and just being like mortified and like whenever they bend themselves into weird shapes or like if we're saying move the mouse.
You don't think about it, but if you were to see that in real life, yeah, you would pretty much lose your mind.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean it would.
There's a lot of
The
cosmic.
paradigm
There's a lot
shift,
of
definitely.
cosmic horror treasure buried under Tom and Jerry.
We always go back to cosmic
Yeah,
horror.
it's
We
like-
love it, but I think one of the most
You play a
horrifying.
drinking game with us in
But-
cosmic horror.
Thinking back on it, I think the most horrifying thing is when Tom gets like his tail cut off, just directly cut off.
And it's like cross-sectioned.
Yeah, I just
Oh,
thinking
yeah.
back on that.
Well, there's
Terrible.
one. I don't know how many times this happens, but Tom is executed in one of the old cartoons.
That's right.
It's like the French one where he's like a musketeer,
Oh,
and he
yeah,
like
I don't think
fails,
I've
so he's beheaded with the guillotine at the end, off screen. I mean, you see like the guillotine go
Pretty
down,
brutal.
but yeah.
So, kind of going back to it, she knows that like Jerry is sentient essentially, or can think because she knocks on the door.
He gets a card.
And a hat.
Yeah, he answers, gives her a card. I don't even know what the card was, and is just like, well,
I'm a mouse, I think, basically.
now I got to kick you out, so I'm gonna get a cat. I feel like she could have gone the other route where she just got a court order against them.
Yeah, he's that
Legally.
Yeah,
And
just-
intelligent.
Victim.
just legally evict them.
Because he is technically squatting.
Right.
Yeah. This is a con. She didn't try to use legal.
Right, she should have
avenues.
used the legal avenue instead of the
Yeah.
cat avenue.
So is Jerry the antagonist?
He is. He
Or
actually
is he the pro?
Or is he the
protagonist?
protagonist?
Because Jerry is squatting in this hotel.
Wait, who'd you say?
Is he the antagonist or is
Jerry
he the
would be the
protagonist?
antagonist.
Jerry's the antagonist. Tom is technically the protagonist.
Okay, Tom the cat. We're
Yeah.
making
Right.
sure we're saying the right name.
Yeah.
Jerry is the reason the plot's happening. He's
Right.
the antagonist.
Yeah, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, and it comes up with some of the reviews we might get to, that Jerry steals all of Tom's money, thus forcing Tom to get a job.
But he's a cat.
Yeah, but he was playing the piano. I think
Oh,
that
that's
was
right.
his,
That's
that
the
was his
opening scene.
early gig because
Yeah,
he was
he's
playing the
he's a
piano,
park
and
pianist.
Jerry stole all his money. So
Yeah,
that's
Jerry
that's
really
like
is
man,
the antagonist.
he
Never
betrayed
think
him.
about it.
Essentially.
I can't really root for Jerry here.
I guess it's kind of like the ambiguity of like a historical struggle, like depending on your perspective,
Who's the
the
bad
hero
guy?
may be the villain and the villain may be the hero. It just depends on who you ask. But
Because growing up, I always thought Jerry was the
hero.
hero, right?
Right, yeah.
But he's really not, if you think about it.
Yeah,
Even to
But
the
if
old
Tom is
cartoon.
just a cat trying to do his...
What cats do.
Yeah, his cat duty, you know. But then again, Jerry wants to live, so, you know, like... I don't know, there's a lot you can learn from Tom and Jerry.
Yeah,
See, there's
a lot
layers. It's
deeper
not
here.
just about slapstick. It's about, like,
Well, Jerry
human conflict
is
throughout
pretty
the
much
ages.
always trespassing, though,
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
to a large extent. So, you know...
I think there's a few instances where Jerry is on his own and Tom just decides to mess with him for no reason.
Right, in some episodes, Tom is probably more antagonistic, and it just depends on the scenario. It's like,
It represents the duality of man.
Mhm.
Inside of every man, a cat and a mouse are slapsticking each other.
just add that to the drinking game. Is the
Duality of
inside
man.
every man. Yeah.
It's one of our favorite quotes.
Yeah. Right. So back to the whole like narrative structure of a potential Tom and Jerry movie, stapling them into the plot. I don't know. Mixed results. I guess there is something like they were doing with the straight to video movies. There is something, I don't know, kind of compelling about here is a movie you know, but we've put Tom and Jerry in it. I guess there's something interesting to that. But then what I always come back to is we used to watch it a lot. Is that '90s Tom and Jerry movie where they are the protagonists. And the whole premise is they're not like trying to kill each other. They become friends and they help like an orphan girl who's being pursued by her like evil foster parents or whatever.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, that
Never
one.
seen this movie.
You never seen it?
Yeah,
we had it on VHS.
They talked, didn't they?
Yeah, that's
that
the
was-
whole hook.
That was the big thing on the
Yeah.
front. It's like they talk now.
Yeah.
I don't wish
And
they didn't, but you
It's
know.
so weird because
What
as a
they
kid
even
we just
sound like,
accepted
I
it. But
cannot remember it.
Jerry was like all high pitched and Tom
I'll bring
was all
up
like,
the
"Hey
video.
guys, I'm Tom."
Hey, producer, put a clip of Jerry talking in 99.
Yeah.
Yeah, now it's the producer, not the editor.
Producer, tell the editor to put it in.
There you
Yeah.
go.
Our whole
Director, tell the best boy to bring me a drink.
staff. He's got to help with the lights. He can't bring you drinks.
That's what the best boy does.
I thought the best boy helped the grip, right? Am I crazy?
I thought he
Yeah.
helped the director.
No, I thought the best boy was
He's
light
not,
related.
he's not an assistant. Oh, I mean, he may be an assistant.
He is an assistant, but he's specific. I thought-
Editor, read out the definition of best boy.
Like this episode is going to take me like 3 weeks to edit.
Editor,
This
include the entire B movie script.
Could you imagine going to school like you see?
Can you just
University of
imagine
New York
going to
and-
school?
I know.
and being called the best boy, getting your job and being the best boy.
No, it's like,
But you gotta start somewhere.
I had that thought the other day because I saw it in the credits of I guess we were watching Kong versus Godzilla and I just had that same thought. I was like, that's such a like demeaning name,
Yeah.
you know. It's and yeah, it's I guess it's just tradition.
Yeah.
Oh, the
I'm
editor.
bringing up
I got Best Buy.
this movie does have a great quote though from one of the
You're
villains.
doing out here?
We're lost and we're looking for something to eat.
Yeah, we're kind of hungry.
Oh, that's terrible.
Oh,
I don't like that.
It's like unnatural.
Yeah.
They shouldn't be talking.
Yeah.
we're lost. We're looking for something to eat.
Now, Tom's voice I'm okay with. Jerry being like a child, I don't know.
What should Jerry sound like?
As deep and as basic as you can. No, I don't know. I feel like you can do something.
I think that movie gets crazy because later they go to a theme park with the orphan girl and they meet this like the owner who's like a sailor who has a parrot puppet on his hand and the parrot puppet is basically alive almost.
It's like that
Okay.
villain from Batman.
He ends up being a villain and like trying to capture the orphan girl to bring her back to her foster
It
parents.
gets really real there when they set the house on fire. They gotta get her out.
yeah.
Not
Yeah,
really-
I know.
Not
I
really
forgot about that.
There's not a lot of slapstick in that movie. Now that I remember
No,
it.
it's just mortal peril and them talking. It's just odd. But.
We're lost.
They're very hungry.
Yeah, I feel like we need to like rewatch that at some point and release like us talking about it. You know, do a
Yeah, we have a
Another
couple
special.
of bonus stuff in the backlog that I'm teasing here.
Well, I think we've beat this dead cat long enough. Maybe we can move on to
Rando reviews.
Oh,
to see
great.
what the people have to say about this
yeah,
masterpiece.
there's a lot to say. We'll start with Subu S. It's on Google. He has a lot of emoticons in. Do watch, checkmark, hashtag Tom and Jerry movie, preferably with your kids. It deliver what it promises. Point. Rekindle your childhood. Nostalgia of the iconic cartoon characters. Heart. It also gives the kids a chance to enjoy the celebrated slapstick comedy of the famous cat and mouse duo. Mwah. Mind you,
What was moi in there?
well, like the kissy.
Oh, okay.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
It'd be funny if you wrote that out.
Mind you, the movie does not offer any soul-enriching message like Soul, nor any sensational song/music that you can't let it go, like Frozen. Instead, it plays off the strength of the eternal frenemies, putting them against a live-action backdrop.
They're not friends.
Giving them tech upgrades, including smartphones,
Okay.
selfies,
I thought they were like
selfie emoji.
cyborgs for a second.
Instagram, drones, skateboard with built-in Wi-Fi, etc. Okay, skateboards with Wi-Fi?
Built-in Wi-Fi?
New age things, man.
I guess so.
Free Wi-Fi wherever you go.
To keep up with the changed times. So, is there a scene where, like, Tom is hacking and Jerry is, like, counter-hacking? He's, like, trying to evade him?
Well, I got really excited when he said tech upgrades because I thought like Tom's arm was like gonna flip up.
Mecha Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
Mecha Tom and Jerry.
Have you seen Upgrade?
No, I haven't seen Upgrade.
It's great.
Yeah.
That's what I'm thinking too. Like Tom gets like nanites in him that allow him to like fight really
They're
well.
not machine, Jerry.
Well, I'm gonna do a pro for tech upgrades.
Upgrade, yeah.
I mean, I'm not so hot on like selfie sticks and stuff, but there could be something interesting in there.
Jerry
We just
puts on an
don't know
Iron
about.
Man suit.
Yeah.
Selfie
Mecha
sticks?
Jerry.
Those are old.
Yeah. Well, did it say selfie sticks or is it
Just says selfie.
selfies? Okay.
Oh,
just
And then the
selfies.
arm selfie emoji, which I didn't know existed, but it does.
Yeah.
Just further evidence of our societal rot.
Continuing on, the movie brings back almost the full gang. Spike the Bulldog.
Oh yeah, I forgot he's in it.
Goldie the Goldfish, Butch the Unfriendly Alley Cat,
Oh, that's right,
Shoulder
Butch.
Devil emoji, Shoulder Angel
I
emoji,
didn't know they were reoccurring characters.
of Tom, etc., including a few other cartoon characters who appear in cameo, such as the elephants, peacocks, pigeon, narrator, etc. But I miss Jerry's cousin Muscles, the Tweety Bird. Okay.
Cousin Muscles?
Cousin Muscles, the Tweety Bird.
Tweety Bird is Sylvester the cat, not Tom. Not.
Right, it's a cameo.
Oh,
Okay.
oh.
Yeah,
But he's put it really weird.
yeah, for sure.
The movie attempts to recreate some of the iconic scenes from the original cartoon series, such as Tom turning into a flying bat, getting hit on face with a hot ironing box, Spike chasing Tom with his devilish tooth. Pro devilish tooth. No.
Tom pro for devilish too.
Tom planning the piano, and Jerry troubling him, and few others. If I were to point out some negatives, then I'd say the animation for Tom and Jerry, although better quality visually, does not feel out of place at times, especially you're wired in your brains.
Does not feel play out of place.
Let's restart that. If I were to point out some negatives, then I'd say the animation for Tom and Jerry, although of better quality visually, does feel out of place at times.
Okay, it does.
Sorry. Especially because you're wired in your brains to see them in a certain way, like you saw them in the original series when animation was not so advanced. But you'll overlook this once you get engrossed in the movie.
I see. Okay. Well, okay, that's a nice favorable review.
Yeah, I don't remember if I said the stars. You gave it 4 out of 5 stars.
Okay. I think it's good they're trying to like reference the classic like scenes from the cartoon and stuff. So.
But it is shameless nostalgia. Let's not beat around the bush.
All right, now this guy is right up our alley in multiple things because his name is impronounceable.
Did we want to give a pro for all the cameos at least?
Sure, I'll give a pro for that.
We have Adehiktaria Ataya-74785. 10 out of 10 is IMDb. An important film, I'd say. This film really depicted the fine-tuning between modernism and postmodernism.
Okay.
The message that was splendidly hid in between the frames were astonishing.
guy's
It was
aping our
truly
bits.
an amazing experience.
That's it? He's not going to tell us, he's going to drop that and not explain
It
it?
simply depicted the fine-tuning between modernism and postmodernism.
So no example. He's just gonna say it, huh?
Right. it
Well,
just
I
did.
guess we have to take
See
his
me
word
after
for
class, young man.
Examination of modernism versus postmodernism.
Wait, so we
It's
could
not
keep a
versus,
page
just
of
between the
reviews.
two.
Okay.
You know, he's not picking sides.
Right.
Then we have, back to Google, we have Joe Neese Anderson, 2 out of 5 stars. As much as I love Tom and Jerry, watching the antics was more stressful than anything else. Lol, but I guess it was otherwise okay. So, the movie's just so stressful.
Like, oh, Tom, please don't fall. I've
Tom,
seen you bounce back many times before. But...
Yeah. It's like, oh no, Tom's getting hurt. I hope he's feeling better.
All right, then we have Denise Deloria, 5 out of 5 stars. This is the best movie I have ever watched.
Wow.
I normally don't make reviews, but this really deserves
Gladiator.
the only movie that
I know, that's
good reference. If you are into memes and Tom and Jerry, this is a must see. Okay.
memes and Tom and Jerry.
Being into memes is not correct way to say that. I'm sorry.
I mean, how would you say it? Because
I don't know.
some people are kind of meme enthusiasts.
Yeah, they create them,
guess.
you know?
You just say
As sad as that may be, but
well, these people are the average meme fan, where I like to think of us as the quintessential meme enjoyer, so to speak.
Meme
Yeah,
aficionado.
Yes.
We drink, we swish, and then we spit.
I see.
We don't let the taste of a meme stay in our mouth too long. We're ready for the next one.
Right. Okay. So I wonder why loving memes would make you like this movie. You know,
Because
it
it
is
has
logical
memes
that if
in
you
it?
like Tom and Jerry, you might like this Tom and Jerry movie. So
I mean, they
give
have
them points
phones,
for
so
that.
maybe they're just looking up memes at one point.
Maybe.
Is that what Tom is doing when he doesn't want to chase Jerry? He's on like I Funny or something like that, just flipping through them.
That'll be part of the Tom interviewing extended cuts. What he's doing before the interview.
He's
looking
reading memes.
Yeah. This is a must-see. Been watching Tom and Jerry since a child. This is basically my childhood. Rotten Tomatoes are a bunch of old people. But
Wait, if you've been watching Tom and Jerry since you were, wouldn't that make
You an old person?
Yeah.
well, no, you know.
100%.
if
Well, I guess
he's-
that's true. If you just saw him on Boomerang, you wouldn't
Yeah, I
necessarily.
guess so. But I wanted to like throw water on him basically. I wanted
But he's clarifying. But my dad laughed, and he's old. He laughed throughout the movie. My family laughed. It's enjoyable. If anyone asked me, what's your favorite movie? I would say Tom and Jerry.
Please don't say that to people.
these people.
Please keep that to yourself.
Warner Bros. Really did their best. Beautiful animation, fun and funny. The animation and live action really fit together. Perfect movie for the family. Unless you are one of those parents with babies and children, each one of my family laughed
old
hard.
people and young people.
I don't regret showing this to them. I don't regret wasting my Wi-Fi to cast this to the TV. A masterpiece. Loved it.
Not like he's trying to convince
Now it
himself.
sounds sardonic. But
It's
I'm not
fresh
really
and
sure.
funny. Thanks, Tim Story. And an even bigger thanks to William Hanna and Joseph Barbera for creating these fantastic characters. Sincerely, a Gen Z who likes cartoons and memes.
Gen Z.
He's so cool.
I love that he's like, wow, Warner Brothers really did their best. You
Yeah.
know, that's what I say when I come out of a movie. Like, wow, Disney really did their best.
So this review stuck out to me.
Is this like the first movie people watch, and this is their only?
Well, it made more sense when he said he's Gen Z.
Yeah,
He's
for
quite
sure.
young.
Oh,
He's
okay.
in his teens.
Yeah.
And he's probably like one of those retro kids, you know?
Yeah.
Retro, watching Tom and Jerry on
Yeah.
Boomerang.
So old. All right, we are
Like Nirvana and the Beatles. And all those kids.
So Pro, it appeals to retro
sure,
Gen
sure.
Zs. While you're doing that,
Is that a pro?
I'm
Fair point.
I'm like, maybe it's a pro.
Oh
ProCod.
God, okay.
It appeals to Gen Z.
Still on Google, we got Xander Medina, 1 out of 5 stars. This movie is a disgrace. I never want to walk to again.
A disgrace you don't want.
So here's what's interesting. Then it's followed by 127 grinning face emojis.
What are these people?
I guess probably tried to fill the word limit.
No, I mean that's not even
is there
close
no
to the
word
word
limit?
limit.
Yeah, it's like
That's not even close.
No, I meant like the minimum. The
There
word
is no minimum.
Oh, there
We've
isn't?
had
Okay.
things with like 3 words. They just put 127 grinning.
Wait, what was the first part? Like, this is a disgrace I would not walk to.
Yeah.
This movie is a disgrace. I never want to ever walk to again.
So
you can drive there.
So basically, what she is saying that there are some disgraces that they will want to.
I think she was mad that she had to walk to the movie theater.
Maybe.
Ruined the whole day.
But I looked it up because the grinning face emoji is also called the beaming face emoji.
Okay, I didn't
And
know.
I just wondered why 127. But I think she just pressed, or we say she, but whoever they are just pressed the button.
Yeah.
You're wondering how I counted those.
What did you put in, like, Word doc or something?
I did put them into a word counter, but I also just formatted them correctly so I could get an accurate count. So I did count them.
This Jake's his dedication to this podcast to count every
Wasting
single
his
one.
time.
Yeah.
You can set a lot of emojis.
Yeah, I know.
I just lined them
Producer-
up, and then I put, I counted the top grid, by the other, and just multiplied.
Producer, get this man a raise.
It's getting sadder the more you explain
It
it.
was faster than counting them individually.
Yeah, I think all these
Copying and pasting into Microsoft Word.
Yeah.
I did. I just wanted to double check.
Because you didn't trust the computer.
Your mind's
Yeah.
like big.
Because I had the computer where it would count the character, like it would count them twice or double them up because they're emoticons. They're not, or emojis.
Yeah.
They're not actual letters.
Right.
All right.
We appreciate the count.
Well, can I go on the VIP?
Sure,
Yeah, thank
Jake.
you.
Yeah, the emoji counter. Jake's dedication to emojism has reached new heights.
All right. This guy also includes emojis. Jordan Langanis, 2 out of 5 stars. Kyla was the only hot person. Peach emoji.
Who?
Kyla.
Kyla? Is that Chloe Moretz's name in the...
I don't know.
Okay,
It doesn't
well,
know.
Kyla's
But
hot.
peach emoji.
Oh, Kyla is hot.
Peach emoji.
Nice.
Oh my goodness.
This movie is dog water. Water and dog emoji.
Oh.
0 out of 10, wouldn't recommend. Even though he gave it 2
This
out of...
movie's dog water.
Yeah, this movie is dog water.
Cons?
It's kind of like the opposite of this movie. This movie has more ticks than a farmer's dog.
I guess so.
But he gave it 2 out of 5 stars, but then said 0 out of 10 wouldn't recommend. So.
Because you can't put it.
There's just no consistency.
All right, and this guy is I Spit Facts, IMDb, 1 out of 10, titled Fact. This movie ripped off The Amazing Spider-Man 2 since it's filmed in New York, except there's bad CGI in this movie.
Wait, what? So every movie filmed in New York
It's
it's a rip off of Spider-Man?
Good grief, most romantic
Con.
comedies rip off Tom and Jerry.
Sex in the City.
Yeah.
Con.
It's all a Spider-Man
Ripped off The
rip-off.
Amazing Spider-Man 2.
How does one reach that conclusion?
I forgot I grabbed this
Or
one.
Pro. It rips off the Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh,
You know what?
pro-con.
John understands our podcast better than we do.
Well, I'm just baffled by the
I like
fact
Amazing
that
Spider-Man too.
Yeah. No, it's good.
I'm just saying this man's like, this movie was shot in the same location, therefore, regardless
Yeah.
of what it is, it's the exact same thing.
Well, no, it wasn't a
Rip-off.
slam against Spider-Man 2. It was a slam that they ripped it off.
Right.
Yeah.
So Spider-Man, yeah.
But it could be, like, your point is it's a good movie, so maybe this movie's better as a
Right.
result.
I don't remember.
Because it's Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Was that the one where he stops the train, or was that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So
It's
maybe
all-
we'll have a
it's all
scene.
like
Dog Ock.
Maybe we'll have a scene where Tom has to stop the train.
Yeah, but it just runs him over and, like, he gets entwined in the wheels, and
Yeah.
that's what stops it.
And then
Jerry's got the-
Jerry saves the day, and then they all celebrate.
Jerry has the arms.
The Doc Ock backpack.
Tech upgrades.
There,
Check
hey,
up
there
for
you
it.
go.
That's what he was talking
So
about.
this is what the movie is.
Yeah.
This Tom
I
just
can believe
goes.
that.
Because Tom, he's got the web things as well. 'cause
Yeah,
those are
yeah.
tech. All right, then we have Star Seed, 1 out of 5 stars. We're back to Google. Not today, Satan. You're not ruining my childhood. Watch for 3 minutes and that was enough for me. Hashtag stop innovation when it isn't necessary. Not today, Satan.
I wouldn't,
Not today.
I would say the new Tom and Jerry movie is innovation of any regard, but
No.
No, it's not really
Sure not.
innovative.
it's not what I think of when I think of innovation, but
Then we have
I get the point.
2 reviews that kind of go together. We got Badal Iberkin, 1 out of 10. It's IMDb, so it's titled Raising Future Alcoholics. Is this a children's movie? If yes, how do you explain the amount of drinking and champagne embedded in the movie? If I lived in US, I would have definitely sued the makers. Apart from this, bad acting, bad quality in every possible way.
So God, it made turn kids into alcoholics.
Yes.
Because that's where I learned to drink.
Yeah.
Oh, John, I'm so
Kids
sorry.
movies.
John was watching Tom and Jerry. He's gonna be like, I want to drink.
Gotta go with the hard stuff. Champagne.
Right.
Real hard
My
stuff.
goodness. Kids slogging away at champagne, boozing away the night in their speakeasies.
Well, the idea of suing a movie for that.
Yeah.
Actually, Tom and Jerry wasn't really made for kids. It was made to show as a short before the movie
Yeah,
at
it's
theaters.
in all ages. And this
kind of
movie's
meant for
probably
all
PG anyways. So.
Yeah, and it probably says in the PG
alcohol,
description alcohol content.
Okay, here we go. This is the one I was talking about.
I just like this thought process that, oh, my kids saw this media. They will now become it.
Right.
Orcas Dia, unnecessarily violent. 2 out of 10 stars.
This guy came to the wrong freaking
Yeah.
place.
Well, he may have a point.
Okay.
Seriously, who thinks this is okay for kids? Old TJ featured fights and violence, but it was always in the set of play, and it's fun because he deserves it. I mean, that's not true at all.
No, it's not.
It's not true at all. Okay.
Sometimes Tom didn't.
This movie starts with Tom trying to make some honest living on a street. He has a sign, Amazing Cat Tom. And because he has glasses, someone claims he is blind. He never says that anywhere. Anyway, so he plays his keyboard.
I thought that little detail. It's like, okay. Just add color to it all. I appreciate it.
And suddenly Jerry comes in and just steals his money. After that, Jerry fights Tom, who just wants to play his keyboard and break his keyboard. Great. After that, Tom is rolled by a van. After that, Tom is slammed by a cargo door and kicked by some shoe in his guts. Like, seriously, anyone thinks this is normal? That this is okay message and fun? This continues as Jerry and the main characters get to the story by just cheating and being scrubs. Didn't finish the movie. I don't want my childhood ruined. It's a bad movie with copy joke, lack of Tom and Jerry, and lack of their atmosphere.
The atmosphere of Tom and Jerry.
Good sir, I came to this restaurant to enjoy this atmosphere of Tom and Jerry.
All right, so those are it for the normal random reviews.
But I guess they never watched the cartoon because, like, it is little mean-spirited.
It's very
Like,
mean-spirited.
Part of the appeal. It's just vicious and raw.
Also, I'd like to
as far
say I watched Tom and Jerry all the time as a kid, and now I'm on a podcast, so
yeah. So
can't be
Cause and
too
effect.
no,
devastating.
yeah, definitely.
All right, so I've titled this Random Review Begging. We got Steven Adrovic. Sure, we'll go with that. 5 out of 9
I
stars.
give up.
It's probably a good movie, but where can I get it? It's not Netflix or anyone else. What the? So he wonders where he can find.
There's always, periodically, we find the person who can't find the movie. As if he can find Google, he
Yes.
can get
Right.
to a review
And he can
place,
where one.
but he can't
stars
Google
included.
where can I watch Tom and Jerry.
It's even in the same bar.
I know.
It's like the first thing
Yeah.
that pops up where you can watch it.
How does this keep
Okay,
happening?
it gets better.
Okay.
All right, Eva Trias Mills, 5 out of 5 stars. This movie is some send me a Nintendo Switch, please, 3 of them.
What's going on?
He's just pleading, asking for a Nintendo Switch wherever he
This
can
movie
find
is
it.
some send me a Nintendo Switch, please, 3 of them.
He doesn't just want one, he wants
3.
Oh, sure, random review. Doesn't even offer an address or anything. Like, where am I supposed to send
5
this?
out of 5 stars. All right, then my favorite, Austin.
How many more are these?
This is the last one.
Okay.
Sorry. Austin
Well, they've been gold,
D'Amico, 1 out of 5 stars. Can you turn the movie back on? I missed it. I wish I could see it.
Where did these people come from?
Okay, there's a lot to this one, subtly, because so, okay, there's a lot of different scenarios it could be. One, he went to see it at the theaters.
Slept through.
Yeah, and now he's begging with them online. Or it's his own house and thinks he can, like, contact his family members through this review.
Or he's trying, like, he rented it
Yeah.
and it expired before he
Yeah.
finished watching it. So
Begging.
now he's begging the creators or whoever he rented it from, please.
Turn this back on.
Some people's lives, man.
I missed it. I wish I could see it.
But I can't think of this being fake because who would do this?
I don't know.
Who would sit there and be like, I'm just going to write this on a Tom and Jerry and some random Google reviews?
Yeah,
And
it's
what? What's the end game?
Yeah. It's just like, I've said this before, but, like, I need to, like, talk to these people and just, I need like a documentary camera on them for like 24 hours to see how they live in this life, in this modern society. It's like, can they get dressed in the morning? Do they have handlers? And it's just,
I don't know.
it's mind-boggling.
When they type in how do I put on a shirt, they put it up the top of Google review site.
It's this group. We have to have this PSA for this really sad subset of humans who have to ask everything in review. On review sites. They don't know how to Google. They can't ask a fellow human. They have to ask everything through a review.
That should be a job. Somebody just goes through here and finds these people and helps
One
them.
of the places where it's almost impossible to interact with anybody else.
Yeah.
We've had one crossover once where somebody said this person was wrong in the Google review. That's it.
I don't know. We need to document their suffering. There's a group of people that are languishing, and we're doing nothing to help them.
All right. I know
Society has failed these people.
I know we're going long, but we have to cover the pop and parental guides real quick. I'm just going to go fast. Violence and gore. Slapstick comedy and cartoon violence throughout. Alcohol,
Say
drugs.
cartoon gore?
No, violence and gore.
Violence and gore.
Well, it's how they title it. It says mild.
It's not literal. I got you.
Yeah. But it's just the title that IMDb gives it.
Right.
And there's alcohol, drugs, and smoking. Adults are seen drinking champagne.
Okay.
They will cause your kids to become alcoholics.
Turn your kids into.
That's it. I love how that people bothered to just say, yes, it has slapstick comedy and cartoon violence throughout. Love that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you have to say, because there's people out there who just, like, they're tabula rasa. They're a blank slate. They have no clue about anything. So
They look up on a Google review site how much violence is in Tom and Jerry.
I say we call them review dependents.
Yeah,
They're
that's
fully
not bad.
dependent on review sites. Okay, so
And remember, views change lives.
Reviews change lives.
Reviews change lives.
We don't all have to say it.
No.
Like it.
I was about to say it though, too.
You can if you want. So, okay. I made it weird. So now we've done.
Sorry, John. Say the word. Say it. Say my name.
Now he has complete power over the podcast. So now I guess we need to ask the Transformer about the film
Yeah.
to see if we can get
Thought
any
try.
final insight before we
Better not
give our
pull up
reviews.
another news article from 6 years ago.
Okay, so I'm going to write what happens in Tom and Jerry
2021.
2021. Oh no. Oh no.
What does that mean?
You gotta wait.
Man.
Holy.
I'm tingling with anticipation. Can you read this?
Yeah, like I can't. We're gonna get a little more like political. We were talking about social issues. Okay.
Well,
What happens in Tom and Jerry 2021? Maybe that their first kiss was pretty unromantic. But what's more interesting is that even though Tom and Jerry aren't gay, they are so very fond of each other. And you know what? That's totally fine. Even if you don't live in India, you can love someone without knowing their gender identity. I mean, what we are really doing right now, anyway, as a culture, isn't giving people a choice. It's forcing them into a mold. What happens in Tom and Jerry 2021? Maybe that their first kiss was, and that's where it ends. So this is like... Okay, I did not realize this was like the Call Me By Your Name of animated children's stories.
Right.
So it's just like this love story, but they're not gay for each other.
right.
They just kiss.
They're just friends.
It's like this platonic, like this bromance that is
Yeah.
like a literal bromance. And they're in India, which I thought this was in the United States, but...
Well, there's Indian elephants and stuff. Maybe it is in India.
Yeah, well, that's true. So...
It's India, New York.
Yeah, India, New York.
Yeah. Prose, it's
Well, maybe that's
Very progressive.
progressive, yeah. That's,
Yeah, but not in the traditional way. It's
Yeah.
like saying, you can have this deeper relationship with your bro.
Yeah, they're saying...
it doesn't have to be
It's
gay.
not gay to kiss your bros. If you love your bros, it's not gay to kiss your bros.
You give them a nice Soviet paternal kiss.
There we go. There, yeah. That's the tagline of the episode. It's not gay to kiss your bros. Thank you, Blow Trump.
Oh. Maybe that's why they're so violent with each other. They have all this
This pent up
pent up like feelings that they don't know how to express. They can only express it through violence.
Yeah, it makes sense now.
My guy in the review said this movie had no soul.
Yeah, I know. What is he talking about?
Modernism and postmodernism?
Yeah.
I think that guy was right. He's
So, with all this in mind, we got to review Tom and Jerry 2021. You're all getting a big kiss after this.
Oh, thank you, bro.
Okay, so cons. There's no Tom scream in the trailer. Mm-hmm. It's one of those real life animation hybrid movies. Chloe Moretz didn't use a legal avenue to try to evict Jerry.
It's clearly sentient.
might have been in the interview cut.
Yeah. It is, for some people, it'll be a stressful experience seeing what's happening to Tom. And the movie is apparently dog water.
Which we don't actually know if that's a bad thing or a good thing.
I don't know. I feel like he couldn't say, or he didn't want to say dog crap or whatever. And then it may turn your kids into a raging alcoholic because they're drinking all over this movie.
Hard stuff, champagne.
Yeah.
Hard string.
And then in the pros, there's no real animals. They kept it consistent with the fake animated animals. It has a very compelling and funny interview scene, possibly.
We don't know.
Yeah, with Tom getting
Could
the
have been
job.
cut. And that's the 5-hour version. I'm sure they'll release it eventually.
Yeah. And then it has 60-year-old jokes that age like a fine wine. Tech upgrade, so we may see cyborg versions of Tom and Jerry fighting each other.
Or Jerry with
Jerry.
Jerry with Dr. Octopus arms.
Yeah.
Tom with web slingers.
It has cameos of all the characters from the original cartoon. It's an examination of modernism and postmodernism.
Whatever that means.
No example.
Yeah.
No examples given.
And also, Kyla is hot. We're not sure who Kyla is, but, that's good, I guess.
Peach emoji.
And again, it's progressive, and it gives us the great message of it's not gay to kiss your bros. And then finally, in pro cons, it appeals to retro Gen Zers. If you're one of those kids who like stuff from the ye olden days of media and pop
the
culture.
ancient days.
It's fine, but don't get up and be like, oh, it's the best thing ever. I can't live. Everything new stinks. Which is true. But.
And it ripped off Spiderman 2. Which could be good and bad depending on how you look at it.
Strictly because it is set in New York.
Right, yeah.
That's the only connection.
Possibly, unless there's the whole train thing.
Right,
and
the tech
Jerry
upgrades. You gotta figure out the tech upgrades.
Octo arms. But, so with that in mind, we have to review this film.
Tom stops the train as his face rips off inside the train car. And they say, we won't tell.
Yeah, they would. They'd be horrified.
So... I already jumped the gun.
Yeah, you gave it a 60.
So I was very excited about what we learned about it.
He's like, fan fiction.
In honor of the 60-year-old jokes, I'm giving it a flat 60, which I feel like is fair. Even though what it's doing to our youth. And
I have labeled that you've given it 60 years.
I give it 60 years.
I mean, if you think about it, that guy did say, get out of here, Satan, and then there's all this corrupting influence in it.
Yeah, so moves on to something.
Yeah.
Honestly, I like
violence and alcohol.
A bit of debauchery, so I'm kind of up on it. The tech upgrades, sweet. Amazing Spider-Man, classic movie. Really masterpiece there. So I'm going to give it a pretty good score of... I don't know, 72 sounds about right. I'm going to give it 72 years, because all our numbers are in years that I just decided.
I've heard it all. Jerry's kind of a jerk, especially in the opening part where
he is.
He destroys Tom, who wasn't doing anything to him, as far as I know.
Yeah.
But it's just full of nostalgia, and that's the only thing that matters. Only thing that matters is nostalgia, nothing else. There's cameos, it's Tom and Jerry.
Yeah.
What's not there to get in love? It's just...
But a bromance?
It reminds me of a time where I was safe and ignorant as a child. And it reminds me of those good times that I'm sitting in the dark, safe from the world and its truth. There's only nostalgia.
Is that when
Is that when you were in the cave?
Yes. I only saw shadows.
Point out, Luke is glaring at me while saying all this, so you do not want to be in my chair currently.
And man.
Okay. I'm agreeing with you.
Give him a little kiss, Billy.
I'm not going to do it anymore.
Everything, Billy.
Okay.
I must have more Tom and Jerry.
I fully
Bring
agree.
me more Tom and
I
Jerry.
agree.
Turn it back on, please.
What is your...
What's your years? How many years are you going at?
What's my years?
Yes. Just stop looking at me.
What are my years?
Please. I want to go back to the dark room of safety. I want to go back to the womb.
I'm gonna give it 61 just to one up you.
Okay, jeez, what did I do? Here I am wanting to give you all a big kiss, and you're friggin' attacking me.
Give me a kiss, brother.
All right, John.
And bring the Tom and
what
Jerry.
do you think?
So, like Spider-Man, so I'm gonna give it points to Spider-Man. Tech upgrades, like Jake said, awesome, always a plus. Loved Tom and Jerry as a kid. I'm gonna go with we're gonna say an 85.
Wow.
I started off, I was like super low. Mixed media is not my thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay.
Spider-Man saved it, really, honestly.
It's gonna be one of our
the guy's
highly
review
rated-
really
There
set
wasn't
turned around.
enough nostalgia for me.
So Spider-Man 2 is your Gladiator, I guess, because for me, Gladiator is always a pro, but for you, Spider-Man 2 is always a pro.
Always a
I
pro,
guess.
yeah.
Spider-Man 2 is your...
Anybody quotes Spider-Man 2 is
If this had
Spider-Man
any references, it would definitely be.
You said the forbidden word.
Oh no, I said it.
Box of
We're
shame.
replacing you with John from now on.
Box of shame. Nobody else got in the box of shame this episode.
No.
We collectively, this one's gonna be higher because we got another one, but we gave it 92.6
It's
repeating.
like one of our highest reviews.
Really high. Repeating the
Tom
decimal.
and Jerry's a good movie. You heard it here, folks.
All right. So 92?
Yeah, I gave it a high
That's
score.
interesting because, okay.
Hoping they would release the interview cut.
The interview cut. Yeah.
So on Rotten Tomatoes, Tom and Jerry 2021, from the critics, had the 31%. But the audience gave it an 82%.
Wow. Hey.
The audience wins
won.
this time.
They're in line with us.
I think I didn't notice this until just now, but apparently, usually they would just give one kind of recap, but now they're giving a recap from the critic's perspective and then a recap from the audience perspective.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it used to be just one. Usually they just went by what the critics said, and that's what they based their final little blurb review on.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting. All right, well that sums it all up. I guess that's our episode on Tom and Jerry 2021, and we want to thank John for joining us this time.
No
He was
problem.
a great
Anytime,
guest.
guys. It's been a pleasure.
Give him a platonic kiss.
It's not gay to kiss your bro. Remember that.
Yeah, and
If you ever have any apprehensions, just say that in your head.
and John has been our friend since we were literally children. I think I was 5, so he's been with us our entire life. So it feels only right that he eventually ended up on this insane podcast.
My entire life.
It's like John's curse.
Because going...
literally your entire life.
We've never really talked about it, but just kind of as a bonus thing, we used to make movies with a video camera.
Yeah,
I should review those.
that would be awesome. Right?
We
Yeah.
don't have them anymore, dude.
But we could kind of talk it. We could do the oral history on some of them. Yeah,
We should talk
that's
about
a really
them.
good idea. Yeah,
So teasing them.
John was
Next time, I'll tell you what, next time we can get John on the horn, then we can have the special,
Right, yeah.
kind of reminiscing about that.
call in, but we'll get a little teaser. One of the films John starred in was a hitman movie. We were all in it, but a hitman film involving actresses, and he was Scottish, but I'll say no more. And I believe
Great accent, by the way.
Yeah, and it was the hillbilly from hell. I think you were in that as well. Yeah, a lot of gems, but I won't say any more. We'll save that for the full
Bonus
special
content.
on it if we ever get to that.
We never put them on YouTube.
Yeah, I know. I feel bad that I guess we could technically do the one we have on a disc, but
We can put it on our Patreon, that'd be funny.
that would actually be a great place for it. But so yeah, thank you for listening to our episode on Tom and Jerry 2021. As always, you can get a hold of us on Gmail at muchreviewan@gmail.com or on Patreon at muchreviewpod or /muchreviewpod.
We got to thank our 2 patrons.
Yes.
Mike Irvin-Trout and Mike Edgeford.
Yeah.
One of them is real and giving us real money. The other is giving us imaginary money, which we have a lot of imaginary money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the best kind because you can give it to imaginary people, which is a big untapped market.
Right.
Yeah.
Get imaginary goods.
And we're also on Twitter at Much Of You Pod. I'm on Twitter at Super Gruesome, and I'm on. I might as well plug my comic. I'm on Instagram at Boring World Comic. It's kind kind of a newspaper style comic. It's like surreal and minimalist, and it's kind of a meta take on, your classic comic structure. All the characters know they're in a comic, and I riff on that concept. But
It's
yeah.
very good.
So if you don't
thank you.
laugh, it's your fault for being stupid.
Yeah, it's too smart for you.
Now that I've endorsed it, I need my cut.
Okay, here you go. Thank you. Yeah.
Imaginary money.
This podcast makes no money, but it pays well to everyone that helps it out.
I give endorsements for exposure.
All
You need
right.
to stop exposing yourself.
I was hoping Wendy
They're
would
trying to
run
get you to stop doing
Yeah.
that. That's what they're going to do for.
It is worth its weight in gold to see my majestic body on display, you plebes.
Well, with that in mind, we're going to sign off now. We thank you for listening, and we'll talk at you later. I've been your host, Billy Greer.
I've been Jake Greer.
I've been Luke Greer.
Hey, I've been John.
Bye.
Bye.